Welcome to Adult Education and Family Literacy Week and the Command Center, hosted by the Coalition on Adult Basic Education. We're here in the Command Center, and it is hopping here. We've had so many guests throughout the morning, and we're really excited to have our friends from the Penn Hill Group here. How are you guys? Yeah, you're going to have to get closer to the microphone so we can hear you. I think you're on. There you go. All right. We got you going now. So we got Elyse Wasch and Nathan Hora from Penn Hill Group. And so Penn Hill Group, you know, people may not know across the country what Penn Hill Group is, but we're going to solve that problem right now. So why don't you tell them, what's a Penn Hill Group?
Penn Hill Group is a bipartisan consulting and lobbying firm that specializes in education and workforce issues. So in our role with COABE, we help with their public policy agenda, whether that be funding or on actual policy, and as well as engagement with the field, like folks like listening right now.
So essentially what you do is you take all of our wishes that we want legislators to understand, and you make your advocacy wand, and you put it all around it, and you make it happen, right?
That is the exact way it happens.
There you go.
Well,
there you go.
I mean, it happens because of COABE members who take those wishes and help bring that information to their legislators so that way they can then act.
Yeah, good stuff. So first I got to give you a big thank you because Penn Hill Group does amazing work with us and with COABE. Thank you for your partnership and your friendship. And most importantly, thank you for guiding us. It can be a tricky, very tricky thing to navigate legislation and understand how legislators do their thing, how you can be effective, and how we really can get it all the way down, filtering down to the grassroots where it really needs to happen. So thanks for all the work that you do. I know that I got to see you this morning on the podcast, and I think our audience did as well. But if you can give us like the high level, the view of what really should be our targets when we talk about adult education in our country. What are the things that legislatively we should make sure are on our representatives and our senators' minds as they move forward?
Well, sure. So the thing that Congress is working on right now is finalizing the funding that's going to go forward for federal education programs and all government-wide programs. They need to finalize that bill before the end of the year, hopefully. So I think sharing why adult education needs to be increased as part of the funding bill that Congress is working on is critical, and providing information as to why that funding increase is so necessary for programs like all of the COABE members are part of or working on. The second thing that Congress will be hopefully looking at, not necessarily this year, although the House did make some moves to put some policy recommendations together for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA for short, is what are the policy recommendations that COABE is looking for when it comes to adult education programs going forward. We want good funding for those programs, but we also want those programs to reflect current practice and also be able to be nimble for the future, to maybe take into the fact the pandemic and things that have happened, where the last time we rewrote that law, we didn't know that programs would have to be virtual or hybrid or what have you. We need to kind of take those kind of experiences and put that into law. And so the COABE folks have been working with Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island to develop a bill called the Adult Education Works Act, and we want to encourage COABE members to talk to their legislators about supporting and co-sponsoring that bill.
Awesome. That's great stuff. There's so many things that you just hit on. I'm going through, I got 1,000 questions in my head, but I know we have limited time today. The why is the biggest thing. And from Penn Hill Group's perspective, I know we talk about this at COABE all the time, but a story paints 1,000 words. I say a story paints 10,000 words. And we don't hear enough in our field of all the success stories of our students and our educators as well. I mean, there's some great achievement. We were on earlier today. Anybody who was on this morning got to see we had a student that just passed her high school equivalency test today. And those are stories that are remarkable. We need to filter down. What do you think is the most impactful thing for legislators to actually see or touch or feel to really get into adult education?
I mean, I would say that weaving in those personal stories to the asks that we put forward is how you best present how the current system is working and what voices from the field, how it can be improved, and promote innovation and opportunity, like what WIOA, Workforce and Innovation and Opportunity Act, is set to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And COABE, you don't have to do this alone. If you're out there listening, COABE's got a great website, our Educate and Elevate website. Man, it's just 3 clicks, and you're there. You're getting hold of everybody you need to. And so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just go onto the COABE website and make sure, you go through and use some of those tools that are there. And they're great things, like even press releases and other things that are on there that could be remarkably helpful for you. So jump on them. Yeah, we talk about the why, but I guess what is it that you want us to know or want us to share with our legislators going forward, this in particular this week of adult education and family literacy?
I mean, I think just the importance of what the work that you're doing in your communities, and how impactful it can be for local businesses and the economy in your local communities. Those are the stories and the voices and experience and expertise that COABE members can bring to their legislators and really paint that picture about why the requests that you're making are so critical and so important. It's not just for the adult learners, but for the community as a whole and for businesses and employers to have the qualified, well-skilled people to take on these important tasks to move our country forward.
Absolutely. Great stuff. So give you a final word. What else would you like our audience to know?
The last thing I would say is, as Elyse mentioned, the way that we help shape COABE's agenda is by engaging with learners, program directors, and educators. And so the way that all listeners, people tuning in right now, can be updated about what's going on at the federal level and also provide input on recommendations is to subscribe to COABE's newsletter. That also, as you mentioned, the 3 clicks, that's how listeners, advocates can quickly engage with their legislators to say, these are our needs, this is why, and it's just, you put in your zip code, your address, click the send button, and takes an email off to your representative.
Love it. Easy peasy. I will tell you this, though, that one of the things that we need to hear what's going on the ground. And so if you're out there listening and you have an issue that you've been battling at a state level or even federal level or local level, the only way we really can help guide you to how to make change or how to make a difference is if we know about it. So if you're out there as an educator or as an administrator, and I know that I do a lot of work in the justice space with the correctional education systems, and there's a lot of frustration about getting new systems and changing a culture and those kinds of things. We really need to hear what's going on in the field. So if you have an issue or concern, make sure you reach out to COABE, send us a note, let us know what's going on. We'll make sure that we tap these 2 and we give them a call and say, hey, we got this issue, what should we be doing? But thank you, Penn Hill Group, for all that you do, for being here today and supporting Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, and for participating in the Command Center. It's kind of cool.
Happy to be here.
It's
Awesome.
really exciting. Great week ahead. I hope everyone has.
There you go. Thanks, everybody.